You're standing in the dark, holding your phone the way you'd hold your breath. The message arrived 40 minutes ago. You still haven't answered. And somewhere, in a forum, in a video, someone told you that this silence is your victory. That by giving him nothing, no reaction, no emotion, no fuel, you finally took your power back. So you did it. You became unreadable, flat, a gray rock. He pushed, and you gave him nothing. He provoked, and you stayed still. By every measure they gave you, you won. Then why does the victory feel like a room you've been in before? They told you the silence would feel like freedom. They told you it would feel like strength. Nobody told you it might feel like grief. You expected to feel powerful. Instead, you feel hollow. You feel the way you felt as a child, standing in a hallway, very still, hoping the storm in the next room wouldn't notice you. The same silence, the same weight in the chest. 30 years apart, and the same child holding her breath. So tonight, we're not going to ask how to win against him. You already know how. We're going to sit with a darker question, a more honest one. What if the indifference you finally imposed on him is the same indifference you've been living inside your entire life? You were already doing this at 7. There's a comforting lie in the way we talk about gray rock. We treat it like a tool, something you discovered, a technique you practiced and mastered. As if, before you read about it, you didn't already know how to disappear. But you did. You always did. Some researchers who study how children survive unsafe homes describe a quiet response. When a child can't fight and can't flee, they do something else. They go still. They become small. They read the room and shrink to fit the safest shape it allows. You didn't learn gray rock from a stranger on the internet. You learned it in a house where being noticed was dangerous. Think back. The careful way you closed doors. The way you measured your own footsteps. How you could feel the temperature of a room change before anyone said a word. And how your whole body would quietly rearrange itself to survive it. You went gray rock at the dinner table, in the car on the way home. In the seconds after the front door opened, while you waited to learn which version of your parent had walked in. You weren't being strategic. You were a child who had figured out that the safest thing to be in that house was almost nothing at all. So when people congratulate you now for going gray rock with him, they don't understand what they're praising. They think you developed a skill. The truth is heavier. You didn't learn to go quiet now. You only forgot that you never stopped. The radar that saved you and trapped you. To survive a home like that, a child develops something extraordinary, a kind of radar. You learn to read the smallest signals, the pause before a sentence, the sound of keys hitting a table, the shift in a face that nobody else would notice. You became fluent in a language no one taught you on purpose, the language of approaching danger. Researchers who study early adversity describe how chronic stress in childhood rewires the body's alarm system. The child who grows up bracing for the next outburst doesn't simply relax in adulthood. The radar stays on. It scans every room, every silence, asking the same question. Is it safe right now? And what do I need to become to keep it that way? For years, this radar was the most loving thing in your life. It is the reason you survived. But here is the cruelty of it. The radar that saved the child is the same radar that now hands the adult straight back to people like him. Because someone exquisitely tuned to other people's moods is, without meaning to be, the perfect audience for someone who needs an audience. You feel his weather before he does. You adjust before he asks. You manage a storm that isn't even yours. You can feel everyone in the room, their needs, their tension, the thing they're not saying. Everyone except yourself. What protected you from the storm is exactly what keeps delivering you to it. Being needed is not being loved. There's a sentence that lives quietly underneath a lot of these lives. Most people never say it out loud. I am only loved when I am useful. You may never have thought it in those words, but you lived it. You learned, very early, that affection in your home was not free. It was earned. It arrived when you performed, when you achieved, when you became the calm one, the responsible one, the one who never added to the weight. Some researchers call this conditional regard, love given and withdrawn depending on whether the child delivers. Children raised this way grow into adults with a fragile kind of worth. A self-esteem that isn't really theirs, because it has to be re-earned every single day. So you became indispensable, to partners, to friends, to bosses, to him. You made yourself the person who could not be lived without. And it felt like love, because for you, being needed was the closest thing to love you had ever been offered. But being needed means your value isn't what you do. Being loved means your value is in who you are, even on the days you do nothing at all. You have probably never had that. So you kept paying. You paid for closeness with your usefulness. You paid for belonging with your exhaustion. You spent your whole life disappearing into other people's needs, hoping that if you carried enough of their weight, someone would finally choose to carry a little of yours. But there's a price for spending a lifetime carrying everyone else. Somewhere under all of it, something of yours went quiet, and you may not have noticed the moment it stopped speaking. Where your voice went. If you spend childhood as the audience, something happens to your voice. You become an expert listener. You can hold space for anyone. You can sense what they mean beneath what they say. You can absorb a monologue, a mood, a meltdown, and reflect it all back with perfect care. But somewhere in all that listening, your own voice went quiet. There's a concept some psychologists call self-silencing, suppressing your own needs and feelings to keep a relationship intact. It begins as survival. In a home where disagreement was dangerous, where having a need was an inconvenience, you learned to swallow the words before they reached your mouth. And it worked. It kept the peace. It kept you safe. But decades of swallowing leaves you somewhere unexpected. Someone asks what you want, for dinner, for your life, for yourself, and you reach inside for the answer and feel your throat tighten around static. Not because you don't care. Because the part of you that knew what it wanted was put to sleep so long ago that you've forgotten the sound of it. You can tell anyone what they feel, ask you what you feel, and there is a long, quiet pause. You got so good at listening that you forgot the sound of your own voice. And the loneliest part isn't that no one asks. It's that on the rare occasion someone does, gently, sincerely, you realize you wouldn't know how to answer. He was never the problem. This is the part that's hard to hear, so sit with it slowly. He was never the problem. I don't mean he didn't hurt you. He did. I don't mean it wasn't real. It was. I mean that he was not the beginning. He was an echo. Freud described something he called the repetition compulsion, the unconscious tendency to recreate the painful patterns of our earliest relationships over and over in new people. Not because we enjoy the pain, because some buried part of us is still trying to rewrite the ending. Still hoping that this time, the cold person will finally turn warm. This time, the one who cannot see you will suddenly open their eyes. So look honestly at the people you've loved. Look at him and ask the question that frightens you. Why did someone who couldn't truly see me feel so familiar? Why did chasing his approval feel like home? Because it was home. The exact emotional climate of the house you grew up in. The same withholding. The same conditional warmth. The same exhausting work of trying to be enough for someone built to never let you be. You didn't fall for a narcissist by accident. You walked towards something that felt like the unfinished business of your childhood, hoping to finally win the love you never got the first time. And that reframes everything about the silence you're holding tonight. What if his silence was never the thing that wounded you? What if it only hurt so much because it confirmed something a much older, much quieter voice had already told you long ago, that you could be right there in the room and still not be seen? The loneliness of indifference. So you won. You went gray. You gave him nothing, and the storm finally moved on. And for a moment, there was relief. A clean, quiet kind of power. But you may have already noticed what comes after the relief. It doesn't last. There's an idea in psychology called hedonic adaptation. The way human beings drift back to the same baseline of feeling after almost any gain. The achievement fades. The praise wears off. And the victory that was supposed to fill you settles, quietly, back into the shape it was before. The gray rock works the same way. The silence wins the battle. Then the adrenaline drains, and you're left standing in the kitchen with the thing the fighting was covering all along. The emptiness was never about him. He was just loud enough to drown it out. When you were locked in the conflict, managing him, decoding him, defending yourself, at least the emptiness had a name and a face. At least the war gave the days a shape. Now the war is over. The silence is finally yours. And in that silence, with no one left to manage, there is nothing standing between you and the oldest feeling you own. The silence is finally yours. Now you have to look at what it's been keeping. The silence as mourning. Here is what no one tells you about going gray rock with a parent, or with someone who became your parent's echo. It isn't a strategy, it's a funeral. There's a kind of grief that psychologist Pauline Boss named ambiguous loss, the grief of losing someone who is still alive. Someone physically present and emotionally gone. You can't mourn them because they're right there. You can't keep hoping because hope is what keeps cutting you. That is what the silence really is. When you finally stop reacting, stop explaining, stop reaching, you are not winning. You are burying something. You are laying down the hope you have carried your whole life. That one day they would finally see you. That one day the warmth would arrive. That one day you would be enough. That's what makes this silence ache in a way that victory never should. Because you are not mourning what you lost. You never had it. You are mourning what you never got to have. The parent who could meet your eyes. The love that didn't have to be earned. The childhood where being seen wasn't dangerous. How do you say goodbye to someone who never truly arrived? Quietly, the way you're doing it now. In a dark kitchen with an unanswered message, learning at last that the silence is not revenge. It's a goodbye to the version of them that only ever lived in your hoping. And when you finally let that version die, something else becomes possible. Something you've been too busy surviving to ever attempt. The first honest conversation. We're back in the kitchen. The same phone, the same unanswered message, glowing faintly in the dark. From the outside, nothing has changed. But something has. The breath isn't held anymore. The chest isn't bracing. For the first time, the stillness in the room isn't the stillness of a child hiding from a storm. It's just quiet. And the quiet is allowed to be empty for now, because you're no longer waiting for someone in the next room to decide whether you're safe. The child in the hallway can finally step out from behind the door. Not because the storm passed, because she discovered she survived it. And because, at last, there is someone here who can see her. You. The radar can rest. The voice can come back slowly, the way feeling returns to a limb that fell asleep. The work ahead isn't to win anyone over. It's to become the one person whose attention you've spent your entire life trying to earn from everyone else. So no, the silence you're holding tonight is not the last word in a war you never asked for. The silence is not the end of the conversation you never got to have with them. It's the beginning of the first honest conversation you're finally going to have with yourself.